What happened to the Republican Party? Let's take a look. In 2008, the Republican Party nominated John McCain for president. He was a war veteran, a longtime senator, and someone who often described himself as a political maverick. Fast forward to today, and many of McCain's positions would likely struggle to gain traction in a Republican primary. So how did the GOP change so much in just over a decade? In 2008, the Republican Party's platform was rooted in what we might call traditional conservatism: limited government, lower taxes, and a strong national defense. McCain himself was a staunch supporter of America's role abroad, especially during the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. But McCain also set himself apart. He supported comprehensive immigration reform, worked across the aisle on several issues, and often spoke in defense of America's political institutions. One famous moment from his campaign came when he corrected a voter who labeled Barack Obama as an Arab. McCain replied, "No, ma'am. He's a decent family man and citizen."
I have read about him, and he's an Arab. He is not. No?
No, ma'am. He's a decent family man, citizen that I just happen to have disagreements with on fundamental issues, and
that example reflects a Republican Party where sharp disagreements coexisted with a certain level of institutional respect. But even then, change was already underway. Many of conservatives were frustrated with the Bush years. Government spending had grown, the wars seemed unending, and the 2008 financial crisis deepened distrust in Washington. This atmosphere gave rise to the Tea Party movement. Beginning in 2009, it focused on opposition to government spending, frustration with elites, and broader populist energy. Figures like Sarah Palin became symbolic of this shift, emphasizing cultural identity and anti-establishment sentiment. At the same time, conservative media outlets and personalities amplified these voices, rewarding combative styles of politics. In retrospect, this period laid much of the groundwork for what came next. Trump didn't create these trends, but he accelerated them. He tapped into frustrations with immigration, globalization, and political elites, and framed his campaign around themes like America First and draining the swamp. Unlike earlier Republican leaders, Trump placed less emphasis on fiscal restraint or international alliances and more on populist rhetoric, loyalty, and cultural battles. His willingness to break with party leadership, attack institutions, and use an unconventional communication style resonated with a large portion of his base. For many Republican officials, adapting to Trump's approach became necessary for political survival. Even after leaving office, Trump continued to shape the party's direction. Today, Republican politics place more emphasis on cultural debates, from election laws to education and corporate influence, than some of the more traditional policy priorities of earlier decades. Foreign policy, once defined by McCain's interventionist outlook, has shifted toward greater skepticism of international engagement. And while balanced budgets and fiscal restraints were central talking points in the 2000s, they are less prominent in current political party debates. The Republican Party of today is still conservative, but it prioritizes different issues and expresses them in a different style than it did during McCain's 2008 run. This helps explain why John McCain's record can appear out of step with today's GOP. His support for immigration reform, his defense of institutions like the press and the courts, and his emphasis on compromise all contrast with the current party's populist tone and skepticism of established systems. Even his civility on the campaign trail, such as calling an opponent a decent person, highlights a political style that feels less common in today's climate. So, how did the GP move from McCain to Trump? The discontent of the Bush years created fertile ground, the Tea Party gave it form, and Trump accelerated and solidified the transformation. McCain's Republican Party emphasized principles like institutional respect and foreign policy leadership. Today's Republican Party places greater weight on populist energy, cultural debates, and distrust of elites. Whether you see that as an evolution or a departure depends on perspective, and there's no question the GOP of 2008 and the GOP of today are very different parties. I want to thank you guys for tuning in today. If you liked the video, be sure to like and share it around. It helps me out a ton. And if you want to see more videos like this in the future, please subscribe and stay in the loop. Thanks, guys.